All right, good morning. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Hope everybody had a great sleep. I slept really good. Actually, slept in way longer than I intended to. All right, so I hope everybody enjoyed the message yesterday, because we definitely need to understand deeper and deeper. Faith without works is dead, and we need to understand what that is and what that means. Good morning, Jamie, Sheila, Carol. Anybody else that may be on, I'm not seeing your name. Good morning to you guys. So tomorrow we will be officially halfway through the Psalms. We are on day 74 today. Day 74, Psalm 74. So this is called a contemplation of Asaph. O Elohim, why have you cast us off forever? Why does your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation which you have purchased of old, the tribe of your inheritance which you have redeemed. This Mount Zion where you have dwelt, lift up your feet to the perpetual desolations. The enemy has damaged everything in the sanctuary. Your enemy roars in the midst of your meeting place. They set up their banners for signs. They seem like men who lift up axes among the thick trees. And now they break down its carved work all at once with axes and hammers. They have set fire to your sanctuary. They have defiled the dwelling place of your name to the ground. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them altogether. They have burned up all the meeting places of Elohim in the land. We do not see our signs. There is no longer any prophet, nor is there any among us who knows how long. O Elohim, how long will the adversary reproach? Will the enemy blaspheme your name forever? Why do you withdraw your hand, even your right hand? Take it out of your bosom and destroy them. For Elohim is my king from of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. You divided the sea by your strength. You broke the heads of the sea serpents in the waters. You broke the heads of the Leviathan in pieces and gave him as food to the people inhabiting the wilderness. You broke open the fountain and the flood. You dried up mighty rivers. The day is yours. The night also is yours. You have prepared the light and the sun. You have set all the borders of the earth. You have made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy has reproached, O Yehovah, and that a foolish people has blasphemed your name. Oh, do not deliver the life of your turtle dove to the wild beast. Do not forget the life of your poor forever. Have respect to the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the haunts of cruelty. Oh, do not let the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise your name. Arise, O Elohim, plead your own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproaches you daily. Do not forget the voice of your enemies. The tumult of those who rise up against you increases continually. As I'm reading that whole chapter, I can't help but think about why the situation is going on. Yah told Israel, and clearly this is who this is talking about. Yah told Israel in the Torah, he says in many different places, but he says, if you obey me, if you keep my covenant, if you keep my commandments, if you keep my decrees, if you do all of these things, then I will bless you. I will protect you. I will keep you safe. Your enemies will fall by the side and everything else. I will do this and I will do that. I will bless the fruit of your womb. I will bless the fruit of your hands and your labor. I will bless the fruit of your fields. And he promised all of this stuff. But yet we see this because of Israel's disobedience, because Israel would not listen, because Israel kept wanting to do things their way. because they were being a stiff-necked people. Because Israel kept arguing with Yah on how things should be done by adding to the word of Yehovah, by adding things, man-made commandments, man-made ways, and declare them to be of Yah. And assuming that Yah is just going to accept it, even to the point that even the prophet Jeremiah, when he came and warned them of the judgment, they just said, well, we don't want to hear that. We want you to tell us good things, tell us blessings. So they actually wanted him to lie. And then we wonder why we see this desolation in the body today. Because the church and all who call themselves children of the Father, who all call themselves a part of Messiah or believers or whatever, are doing the same thing that Israel was doing then and is still doing even today. You know, those who call themselves the bride, they want to have what they have, Christmas and Easter and Hanukkah and Rosh Hashanah in the 7th biblical month, all these things that are not biblical, that are not by Yah, and that have been man added or even come from pagan backgrounds, you know, things like that. All this stuff, the men who want to wear the kippahs and wear all this, what I call the Jewish starter kit, you know, people who want to put these things on and they want to declare themselves to be godly or of some type of priestly order or whatever it is. And you got the pastors of churches who they want to walk around in their $2,000, $3,000 Armani suits while they're preaching the word to people who can barely pay their rent, but yet continue to take all of their money so that they can have their big church and their big houses. And I mean, it goes on and on and on. And this is why we read what we read in Psalm 74. This is why the anger of his anger, the smoke of his anger is against the sheep of his pasture. You know, this is why he has cut us off. This is why he has turned his back on his inheritance, and why Mount Zion is going through what it is. This is why there is desolation under his feet. This is why the enemy has damaged everything in the sanctuary, why the enemies roar in the midst of our meeting places. This is why they set up their banners for signs, and it seems like men who lift up axes among us, and all of these things, and they break down all the stuff around us, and they set fire to our sanctuary and have defiled the dwelling places of his name to the ground. This is why. This is why it's going on. This is why we read this, because we are not surrendered. This because we are not submitting to him everything. And we're allowing these pagan things or pagan worship inside of our places of congregation. We're allowing excuses to be done on the Shabbat or in his Moedim or in his feast days. I saw a huge group that did Sukkot together, and they posted a bunch of pictures. And one person said that it was nothing but one problem after another through the entire Sukkot. That's not the way Sukkot's supposed to be. That's not what Yah promises. And you see in the pictures and everything going on, you can see all kinds of stuff that was being done that was not supposed to be going on during Sukkot. And I thought, well, then that's why they had all the problems they were having. Because Yah promises that when we clean our camp, when our camp is holy, that he will walk among our camp and be with us and dwell with us. That's the whole purpose of tabernacles, is to tabernacle with Yehovah. And he says, as I walk through it, let me not find anything unclean and have to turn away. And if they had so many problems and it was so bad throughout the Sukkot, then that was why. Because Yah walked through the camp and saw uncleanness and turned away. Because Yah promises to dwell with us in our camp if our camp is clean. And, it's all of this kind of stuff. It's the same thing in our daily walk, our spiritual walk. If our camp is not clean, if we are allowing things unclean in our individual lives, in our homes, or anything like that, if we allow this to come in and we don't do anything and we make excuses for it, then Yah will walk through, and if he finds things unclean, he will walk right back out. He's not going to dwell where we purposely sin or allow things to go on in our homes, especially in our individual lives. He's not going to stick around and hang out while we profane his name in any way, shape, or form. So Mishpachah, as you go about the day today, study this, meditate on it. Think about how it may relate to your own walk in your own life or your own home. And always go the extra mile. Always go the extra step to see what Yah wants you to do. Ask him, Father, show me, reveal to me. Is there anything in my walk or in my life that I need to remove, to get rid of? Is there anything that needs to be cleaned up? Maybe something I don't know about. This is something we should do on a daily basis, all year long, not just at Yom Kippurim. This is something that we always need to be doing so that we can receive the blessings and the encouragement and the promise when Yah says, if you will heed my voice and obey my covenant, then you shall be a special treasure unto me above all people. And I think Deuteronomy 30 is also one of promise that when we walk in obedience to him. Yes, let me read these few verses. I think this is what I'm talking about. Now it shall come to pass when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and they call them to mind among all the nations where Yehovah Elohim drives you. This is because of their disobedience. And you return to Yehovah your Elohim and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, you and your children with all your heart and with all your soul, that Yehovah your Elohim will bring you back from captivity and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where Yehovah your Elohim has scattered you. If any of you are driven out of the farthest parts under heaven, from there Yehovah your Elohim will gather you, and from there he will bring you. Then Yehovah your El will bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. He shall prosper you and multiply you more than your fathers. And Yehovah your Elohim will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants, to love Yehovah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, that you may live. And Yehovah your Elohim will put all these curses on your enemies and on all those who hate you, who persecuted you. And you will again obey the voice of Yehovah and do all his commandments, which I command you today. Yehovah your Elohim will make you abound in all the work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, in the increase of your livestock, and in the produce of your land for good. For Yehovah will again rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers, if you obey the voice of Yehovah your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the Torah. And if you turn to Yehovah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. That's Deuteronomy 30, 1 through 10. So that's Yah's promise. He already scattered us, and he's already spread us throughout. And now it's time for us to return back. It's time for us to go back in all of our walk, in all of our ways, and in all of our days. It's time for us to turn back to Yehovah, to his Torah, to his truth, and to keep his commandments and his moedim, so that he will bless us. And when the day comes, that we will be restored back into the land. So Mishpachah, dwell on that today and be excited about what that means. It's time to fine-tune your walk. And it's time to not compromise anymore. It's time to not make excuses, but it's time to fully surrender unto him. Amen. So I love y'all. Have an awesome and blessed day. And most importantly, Yah loves you. Shalom, shalom.